You're not going to the Pro Bowl.
Three different quarterbacks. That'll do it to you every time.
But, you know, we had Irving Fryer on the show recently. He talked about that. All the quarterbacks he went through with the Patriots. Then he went and got Marino suddenly. You have Jeff George, who is as good a quarterback as you can get, but he couldn't keep him healthy this year.
Yeah, this year we had an odd problem. You know, he had a growing problem that we couldn't figure out where it came from. He actually did the thing running in the air, really. So, you know, it really hurt the offense a little bit. But, you know, we were able to get some things done. But without Jeff George, it's pretty difficult to do what you want to do.
How frustrating is that? You know, you also had Donald Hollis and then Wade Wilson. Now, you thought Vince Evans was old. Suddenly Wade Wilson is coming in and playing games. How much does it affect a receiver? Well,
it affects you a little bit. You know, you have guys who throw three different kinds of balls. You know, Jeff George is the guy who's going to hold the ball a little bit, but he's going to get the ball there to you on a beeline. So Donald Hollis throws more of a softer ball, and Wade Wilson throws more of a timing ball. He's going to try and hit you right at a break. So you have to, you know, adjust. And the last game of the year, we had all three of them in one game. So it was actually pretty comical at one point.
Let's talk a little bit about that last game of the year, because that's the last thing we have to go on. You guys finished 8-8, and again another non-winning season. The end of the year for Gruden, and at one point he ends up, each of the guys had a groin injury, but on the sideline, he gets into it, or Hollis gets into it with him. Youngest coach in the NFL. How did he establish his authority with the team?
Well, you know, I think he handled every situation that we had come about this year great. You know, I was surprised that he could handle it as well as he did. You know, being a young guy, being a younger guy, you know, you would think that he would fly off the handle and just go off on guys and really try to put guys in place just to show that he's the man in charge. But, you know, he handled everything very professionally and did a great job. Even the situation with Donald the last game of the year, because I was standing right there. I heard everything that was said, and I thought it was very out of line what Donald had said. And I was actually getting ready to say something to Donald, but I was trying to stay focused in the game. And he just looked over his shoulder and said, okay, well, let me get Jeff George in there. He just went on about his business. And, you know, you really can't fault Donald. It was a very difficult season for him. He never expected to play as many games as he did. And I think mentally he was just, you know, really out of it. And that just sort of all came to a head.
How much? You're the longest standing Raider now actively. Most of the passing, receiving records are yours. You passed guys like Biletnikoff. I'll get to your personal stuff in a minute, but how much is Gruden, as being the youngest coach in the NFL, leaned on you? He came to you personally and sort of singled you out, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. He wanted me to be a leader on the team. You know, after talking to each other, we realized that I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go and get up in guys' face. You know, in minicamp and maybe a little bit in training camp, I'll do that kind of stuff. But once the season begins, I need to be focused on what I need to do and try and go out and work hard. And hopefully, by me working hard in practice day in and day out, the guys catch on to that and see, hey, look, yeah, this guy may be 32 in year 11, but he's going to go out and give you everything he has, and that's what I tried to do.
You know, as we see another touchdown reception here, you always end up with the numbers across the board, but it came pretty close for that 1,000 yards this year.
Did it ever come close? You know, it's funny because every year, the first half of the season, besides last year, because I put up, you know, 104 catches last year, the first 8 games are always slow for me. And as the year goes, well, I think it's a situation where, you know, people don't believe this, but I'm never the go-to guy as far as, okay, we're going to go into this game and try to get the ball to Tim Brown 10 times. I think the philosophy has always been, Tim is going to get his catches. He's going to get 5 to 7 balls. Let's game plan Napoleon, Jet, Ricky Dudley, get those guys going. Don't worry about Tim. When we need him, he'll be there. So, you know, I think early in the year is that situation, and towards the end of the year, it's like, okay, wait a minute, we need to make a playoff run here or something, so I get more balls. But halfway through it this year, I think I had like 400 yards, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make it. And then going into the last game of the year, you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs with 2 of the best corners, even though Dale Carter didn't play. You're just thinking, I need 125 yards. Let's just go and have a good game and finish the year on a good note.
How important is that to you? You know, once you get used to 1,000-yard season, 100-yard games.
It's very important, you know, at this time of the year when, you know, the season is behind you, you know, you look at your stats over the last 6 years, and I don't know if there's been but 1 or 2 other receivers to go over 1,000 yards the last 6 years. So, you know, Herman Moore didn't do it this year. I think Chris Carter may be the only one to have done it the last 6 years straight. So, you know, it's one of those things once you're done, Gary, you know, you really appreciate and something you better hang your hat on. But I was happy to get it done this year. Now starting a fresh slate this coming up year, and hopefully we don't have that worry coming into the last game.
A year ago at this time, you had the possibility of a contract option, which could have made you a free agent. You thought about it pretty hard, and within a few days, you decided to sign for 3 more years.
Right. Well, you know, I was really thought I was on my way out after Bugle left, and they were talking about new head coach, and they were talking about 34-year-old head coach. I was like, oh no, 34-year-old head coach trying to handle these guys? Not me. No, thank you. But after talking to Gruden actually one time, man, and just seeing how intense he was, and talking to Irvin Fryer, I actually ran into him actually at a Super Bowl event before Gruden took the job, and he told me, you'll like this guy. You know, he's not going to be a guy who's everybody's going to run over. You'll like this guy, and he'll be in charge. And after I talked to him, I realized I don't want to go play anywhere else. I want to finish my career as a Raider. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that, Mr. Davis. But, you know, it's something I would like to do. But, you know, at the same time, you always have to prepare yourself for whatever could happen.
You mentioned Al Davis. Remember the first time you met him, and how has your relationship grown? Were you intimidated by him at first, and what's it like now?
No, I've never been intimidated by him. I don't think he wants me to be intimidated by him. I respect him because he's the owner of the team, and he has a great football mind. The one memory that comes to mind of him is my rookie year. It's the only Super Bowl game I ever went to, actually down here in Miami, and some kind of way, I don't know how it ended up, but someone gave me a ticket, and it happened to be in his booth. And I still don't know how that happened, but he was sitting there asking me about the plays that San Fran was going to run. And I was like, okay, Roger Craig. Oh, no, they're going to throw it to the tight end. Boom. And I said, well, they're going to throw it to the tight end. Oh, no, Roger Craig. You know, and he was like calling all these plays. And I was like, you know, but it just showed me what kind of offensive mind or what kind of football mind this man really has. But, you know, I think we've gone through our ups and downs, you know, through the Marcus Allen deal. You know, I think he thought I sided with Marcus, and maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But at the same time, you know, I think we had a little thing going on then. And then the Denver thing, I signed with the Broncos, and I'm sure he didn't like that too much. But I think now we have a very good relationship. You know, I don't know if Al's going to ever be close with any of his current players. He's more close with guys who have played for him. But at the same time, you know, I feel free to call him and talk to him anytime I need to. And, you know, I think we have a good relationship.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that fine Raider tradition and how Tim Brown fits into that. And he brought up the Broncos and how he almost went there. And now here they are in their second straight Super Bowl. It's been a long drought for the playoffs and postseason for Tim Brown. All that ahead when we continue with the Raider Great. Pelican, who came floating by when he heard we had Tim Brown on the show. Tim, haven't been in the postseason since '93. When are we going to get you guys in one of these things?
I tell you what, I really thought we were on our way this year, and I think without the injuries, we would have definitely been there. But we had some devastating injuries, you know, with Eric and Jeff George alone. Those two injuries can cost any team a season. But, you know, I think we made a drastic improvement coming from 4-12 last year to make it to 500 this year. And I'm hoping we can improve 4 more games next year and be right where we want to be.
Well, one of your great rivals is the Broncos, and you have a personal rivalry with Ray Crockett, who grew up in Dallas, and he came pretty close to you. Said the 1,000-yard seasons mean a lot to you, and your consecutive catch streak was on the line there. Talk to me about the Broncos. They were tough on you guys this year and tough on everybody.
Yeah, they were tough. They are a very opportunistic team. You know, they're especially defensively. They're going to be a team, if they get an opportunity, they're going to take advantage of it. And if they have a 2-score lead and late in the second half or late in the third quarter, they're going to start blitzing you and see if you can handle it. Most teams can't handle that situation. So that's how they killed us this year, and that's how they killed everybody this year. So, I'm hoping it'll be a good game.
You think they'll beat the Falcons?
I think they will. I'm an AFC guy, so I want to pull for the AFC, but at the same time, Denver back-to-back, man, that'd be hard to take. But Dan Reeves, sentimental favorite. I'm hoping that maybe he can pull one up.
I mentioned Crockett. You guys grew up in Dallas. He ended up at Baylor. What about Notre Dame and that fraternity? How tight is it?
Well, it's very tight. You know, we have young guys who we have to learn. You know, we have to grab those guys after the game and, hey, look, I'm a Domer now. Make sure you speak to me after every situation. But you know, it's a very tight fraternity. You know, people look at Notre Dame football players differently for one reason or another, you know. So, you know, and I think everybody has to respect where you come from, and at the same time, you know, realize that a lot has been put on you.
Let's tighten that fraternity even tighter. Andre Ware just signed, another former Heisman winner. How about you guys? You guys, when you get together?
Hey, maybe Ricky Williams this year. We just make it a cool 5 and just going about our business. But, you know, I think Andre is looking for another opportunity to play. He's going to get that chance here. I guess they're going to maybe put him in the World League. You know, we like Heisman winners, that's for sure. I think the Rays have proven that over the years.
Now, one thing that Desmond has on you He's got the rock.
That ring, and believe me,
he doesn't let you forget it.
He lockers right next to me, and I tip Brown. You got to get there, Brown. That's what he tells me all the time. So it's a very special thing, and that's why we all play this game. And if I can get that ring with everything else I have, boy, that would be quite a career.
Well, and Charles Woodson, do you think he'll play on the other side of the ball this year?
I think so. They really wanted to play him on the other side of the ball last year, but with so many injuries, freak things happening, you know, that's the last guy you want to see get hurt. So he wants to. This guy's, I think, it's more explosive offensively than he is defensively. Believe it or not. Even he's going to Pro Bowl this year, so imagine what he can do offensively. But if the opportunity arises, you know, to get him the ball 2 or 3 times a game, I think would just be so exciting for the Raider fans and for football in general.
Well, it'd be great for us to see you in a Super Bowl one of these days. Our pleasure to have Tim Brown on the show. We're glad to hear that the newborn is doing well. We thank Tim Brown for being our special guest on Up Close. Thank you for watching us on this edition, and we'll see you next time Up Close.